Hey everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com, and today I'm going to show you this really cute card. This was not my idea. This is actually an idea I got from Jackie Bullheis. She shared a couple cards. She has a one-sheet wonder tutorial for fun folds, and I thought this was such a fun idea. So I made my own version of it. So this one uses the Birthday Bonanza DSP and the Power of Hope 3D stone embossing foam. This folder, this is part of that bundle. So this is actually for my entry in the Team Stampin' Celebration blog hop. So it's featuring products from 2020 Celebration. So this is one of the cards I created. This used Bermuda Bay as this, Coastal Cabana, and then the really fun Birthday Bonanza DSP. I always want to call Bonanza Buddies, but that's the stamp set. I also used another Celebration item, which is called Sending You Thoughts. This has some really nice greetings. So I put that on the outside, and then I kind of did colors to coordinate. So this is Mango Melody, and then on the inside I used Terracotta Tile, and then I stamped once, twice, and 3 times, so it's stamping off in generations with Bermuda Bay ink. So this is a fun way to do the card. Now there is another way to do the card. So first let me show you another stamp set. This actually will be coming out March 3rd, I believe. This is the second release Celebration. It's called Well Dressed. So I don't know if any of you are like me, but I am very attached to songs through my life. And as soon as I saw this, all I could think of was Putting on the Ritz by Taco. I don't know if you all have ever heard that song, but it was a huge song for me in the 80s, along with the Vapors Turning Japanese. I love those 2 songs. So as soon as I saw the stamp set, every time I make a card with it, I cannot get that song out of my head. So I have to figure out a way to somehow stamp Putting on the Ritz and get that on this card, but I went with You're a Classic, and this is from the Geared Up Garage stamp set, that stamp. And then what I did was I just put the herringbone down the side, and then I put another one here, and I kind of stamped this similar to a designer series paper we had quite a while ago. It was called Typeset, and it was a really thin paper, and I loved that paper. I thought it was really cool. So I actually did this in very vanilla, stamped it in soft suede, and then I went over the whole thing. I sponged it. I did the same with these 2 little strips as well. Now this one, you can see the difference here. This one I actually did at 1 inch, and this one I was just trying to go for something a little bit smaller. So instead I went with I believe I did a 1/2 of an inch for this fold here. So it is a little bit smaller, so you can do them different ways. And then the little piece that you put on here can open your card. So same with this one. So it kind of leads people to open the card. But I thought this was a really fun way to do a card. And then I actually clear heat embossed over the soft suede ink for the hat. I thought that was really cool. And then I have one other version I did. So this one's more of a girly version. And this one, what I did was instead I actually glued this down. So instead of it pulling like this one does apart, this one just opens. But it does give you a lot of detail. And it's a nice way to be able to show off your DSP. So this, again, I did use the Power of Hope bundle, the 3D embossing folder. I did this in Petal Pink, and then I sponged over it a little bit with Lovely Lipstick. And then I just picked a coordinating color, so I went with Soft Sea Foam because it's a really light color in this paper. And then I just did the Hope is the Power that makes all things possible for this one. Now, funny thing, I actually started with this using Garden Green, and then I went over it a couple times with a basic gray. So it's a little bit unusual of a green color. So I did that with my Stamparatus. I inked it first with one, and then I added 2 other layers over it. So if you've never done that before, it definitely can change up the tone or the hue of the color that you're using. And then I just added a little scrap piece here on the side just for a little bit of something. So I thought today we could do another one, and I'll show you how to make it. So again, you can kind of do it either way. So I'll show you. So what you're going to do is you're going to start off with a 1/2 sheet of cardstock. So this is 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your trimmer and you're going to slide it in to 1 inch. So I'm just using the 1 inch on this side, and you're just going to score. So that's pretty much it. And then you're going to fold this over like you normally would. Grab my bone folder. And then you're going to fold this flap back, just like so. Okay. So then you'll have this little flap. So now you can decide if you want to adhere it down. Now you're going to decorate it first, but you could either adhere it down or you can leave it so it's kind of like that pool card right there. So this one I'm going to use for the pool part. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet, but this is Coastal Cabana. And then I have another piece of Coastal Cabana and I'm going to do something to it, but again, not quite sure what yet. So this measures 5 and what did I go with? 5 3/8 by 2 7/8. I have a piece for the inside. This measures 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a piece of DSP. So we'll use one side for one and one side for the other. This measures 2 inches by 5 1/4. I'm going to trim it down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this off to be, and I'm actually going to make it so it mirrors pretty exactly to the card. So that's the fun part. So I'm going to trim this down to 5 3/8. And then I'm just going to cut this in half. So it'll be 2 pieces that measure 1 inch. So it's 2 inches right now. So I'm just cutting it in half. And make sure I line it up there. And then we'll put one on the, oh goodness, I might have to trim that down a little smidgy more since I made this one 1 inch. That was me being silly there. Hold on. We'll just take a little 1/8 of an inch off of this. Just goes to show when you're cutting. There you go. That has a nice line. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off of this. When you're cutting and you're kind of doing these cards, this is only the 4th one I've made because I tend to find something that I really like and then I usually will make a bunch of different versions of it and then I'll put it together. So then I will flip this piece over and we'll use this piece for the inside or vice versa, one of the two. So you could save these little strips if you wanted to decorate something with pieces, but I have a lot of pieces, so I'm going to let those go. So what we're going to do, we're going to layer this piece on. So we're going to decide which one we want to be the front. And I think I'm going to put this one on the inside and this one on the outside here. So I am going to do this with liquid glue because it kind of gives you a little bit of forgiveness, so to speak. That way if you need to adjust it a little bit. I'll put this down here. And there we go, just like that. So I have a nice border all the way around. All right, so this piece we're going to end up adhering, and since I cut this the other way, I'm just going to take my bone folder to get those little edges down. Sometimes when you cut, I will say that I do cut a little bit more firmly with this trimmer than I probably need to. The one in the past, we kind of had to push a little bit harder when we were trimming things. So if you notice that you're getting a lot of tearing in your paper, you might want to just ease up a little bit on your pressure when you're cutting. Oops. Didn't put that up quite as far as I wanted to. Let me go up a little bit higher. Might need a little bit more glue here. Since we're covering that piece up, it's not going to matter. And basically, I just want to get this to the edge. Come on, Rach, you can do it. There we go. So it's up to the corner here and then to the edge right there as well. Okay, and then I'm just going to grab my snips and just cut this off. For some reason, I think this might be a little shorter than I think it was intended. Nope, we're good. Perfect. So it'll be just like that. So this one I went to 3/8. This one is actually 1/4, so no big deal. So then we're going to do something with this. So what we can do is we can emboss this with something. We can stamp it with something. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of stick with something simple. So I'm going to use the Label Me Bold stamp set. So we'll just do the lines and then we'll do stars. And I'm going to do these in 2 different colors. Must not have stamped that off. If you ever have trouble getting your clear or your cling stamps off, one thing you might want to do is make sure that you hit them on your hands or on your jeans or something like that, because it kind of takes a tiny bit of the stick off. Because otherwise, if you haven't used them, I don't think I've ever used those stars. That's probably why they've been on there since I assembled the stamp set. So what I'm going to do is I will go with Bermuda Bay for the stars, and then I'm going to go with Coastal Cabana for the line. So I'm just going to kind of randomly stamp this. I just ink this up, put it in all different directions. so there's one. And then I'm just going to fill in the stars. Apparently I need to re-ink my Bermuda Bay because it is looking a lot lighter than my Coastal Cabana. And this is just kind of for background, so let me close that up. And what we will do, let me move this over. Clean that off. And I'm just going to put some liquid glue onto the back of this. So you could emboss it, because I have embossed this with an embossing folder to decorate it. You can kind of do it whatever way you like, but just something quick and easy. So just it goes to show you, don't have to be too exciting. And I want to make sure that's relatively straight. Just like that. So now is the time, if you wanted to, you could adhere this down. So I think I'm going to do it for this one because I have two that have open flaps. Sorry about that. Two that have open flaps, and then I'll do two that don't. So I'm just going to press this down and hold for a second. Okay. And then just one other thing, just to show you that you can keep this pretty simple and easy. I'm going to use the Starburst punch on this just to change it up. So I have my Starburst punch. Just going to punch this out. And while I have it here, I'm going to actually, since this is darker, I'm going to ink just the edge of this. Sponge the edge with Bermuda Bay. Okay, so just like that. Pretty simple. And let's see, we have one more thing. We'll do this one, same thing again. I'm going to do this with Happy Birthday. So we have Happy Birthday and another sensational Year of You. We'll put that one for the inside. So I'm going to change up, and I'm going to stick with the color. So I will go with Grapefruit Grove for the inside. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. Since I know I still have a little bit ink, I'll just add the stars just without re-inking. So there's that. The only other thing we have to do is add the Happy Birthday, and I think I'm going to do that one in Coastal Cabana. So put this here. I just have to grab a scrap, and there we go with that. And only other thing I have to do, I'm going to grab a circle punch. Let's see, that's a little too small. So this one might be one that's retired, but just for the sake of attempting to make it quick for you. All right, and then while I have that sponge out, I'm just going to sponge the edge. You could do this in a contrasting color if you wanted to as well. So this was the 1 3/4 inch circle punch in case you may have it. If not, you could certainly use the layering circles. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue. Pop this on top. Just like so. And then you kind of just have to decide, and I actually put this down as well. You just have to decide where you want to put your sentiment for the front. You can kind of put it anywhere, but just be mindful of where you put your adhesive. I'm going to move this over just a little bit. There we go. So be mindful of where you put your adhesive, because you don't want to put adhesive on this, or your dimensionals, I should say, because then it will stay closed. So I'm going to kind of center it just like that. So I'm actually going to I have been doing it this way, where I'm eyeballing where I want to put my sentiment, and then I'm just pressing my dimensionals down there. That way I know they're in the right spot. So same thing, if you were to just want to glue this flat, I would just put your glue in the area where you want, and then add your sentiment. That way you don't accidentally glue a part that you don't want glued. I don't know if this even has any ink left to it, but a couple little tiny stars. So there you go. So this one is a closed. Okay, and again, we do have ones. This one is a closed as well. We have ones that they kind of this layer open, so it kind of almost looks like a little bit like a tent or an A. And then these, we just closed up that little flap there. So a couple different variations, but always lots of fun. So many things you can do with this. You could do this for virtually any stamp set that you have. So again, this is the new Celebration item that will be coming out. Well dressed, great new stamp set, really fun. There's also another one that is a double-sided coffee mug or tea mug stamp set. So I can't wait to share that one with you as well. I hope you all enjoyed this video today. If you haven't already, make sure you follow all the way along with the hop. I'm sure you will get great ideas for some ideas for things with Celebration that you might not have used or might not have thought of. So thank you guys so much as always for watching. I look forward to hearing from your comments. If you have anything you'd like to share with me or questions, you can find me at rachthestamper@gmail.com if you have something you'd like to share. Otherwise, you can find me on pretty much any platform: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and my blog at Rachthestamper. Blog is rachthestamper.com. Thanks guys for watching. I hope you have an awesome day.